Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears up!
What's going on, everybody? Ears Up podcast. We are back from our whirlwind vacation to Los Angeles.
Can I just say, huge episode? Huge episode
Huge
here.
app. Get ready for the app, everybody. Let's interrupt the intro to talk about how huge the app is.
Huge app.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I know you did, and that's fine, man. Well, welcome, everybody. We are back. We went to Disneyland. Finally, it was going to happen eventually, although it's a little sooner than I wanted to. But that's okay, because it's not my life. It's my wife and my child's. I'm just along to drive.
You wanted to wait 10 years?
I just didn't want to go back. I didn't care. But, that's just me. Whatever. That's not entirely true, but closer to the truth than not. But we eventually went. We spent a couple days in Disneyland Resort, and we want to tell you all about it. But big shouts out to our friends over at Concierge. You can go to concierge.com and you can travel like ears up. Yeah. No, we worked with Jimmy, of course, over there at Concierge. And he was great to work with. The trip went off without a hitch. Everything happened the way Jimmy said it was going to. And it was great. He got us a great room at the Villas at the Disneyland Hotel, the DVC Tower. And it was a nice room. It was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
They're pretty nice rooms.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the rooms in a sec. But it was good. And it was nice to be able to have somebody to text while we were there going like, does this we had a question about Trader Sam's if they were doing like reservations for the patio or something like that, because Taren thought she heard that. So instead of Googling that, right, and having to figure it out and like, well, is this person on Reddit, accurate or not? We just text Jimmy. Mm-hmm. And then he gave me the wrong answer. And then we looked like buffoons. We looked like fools trying to. No, I'm kidding.
What answer did he give you?
I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
I was going to say, because he asked me what the answer was.
Well, see, there you go, man. Yeah. So it was just it's good to have a reference point, someone to run point for you on information while you're there at the parks, or at least maybe driving down and you have a thought, that blind I-5 drive, all my Bay Area folks, you get to thinking about what you're going to do or planning stuff or whatever. And it's like, oh God, I forgot we could do this, but I'm driving. You just have Jimmy do it for you, or any of the other lovely people at Concierge. So check them out, concierge.com. They do all this extra stuff for you at no charge for you. It's only what the parks charge to get in. And it was nice to be able to do the parks and the hotel all in one tab. It was already paid for. We were already, we were just rocking down with a free vacation, which is podcaster math.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's free.
Except that it was not free.
It was free.
It was not free.
It was free.
Okay, it was free. It was free after we paid for it.
Yep, it was free. We just had to offload a bunch of cash first, and then it was free. That's true. Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's Disney math.
Check them out.
Podcaster math.
Concierge.com. All right, on today's show, we are going to be running through essentially is what is just a trip recap. And I don't necessarily like trip recap shows when other people do them, because it's like, it seems really, it's like looking at slides from your parents' vacation to Spain that they took 20 years ago.
Time-honored tradition. Come on.
Yeah, right. And it's just, so I don't know, but we're going to try to make them a little bit more exciting. A little bit more informative. And I think this is, definitely a different kind of trip recap show, because we haven't been in 5 years. And there's so much that is different yet the same at the parks that it was kind of a weird time to go back Honestly, it was weird because things were familiar, but they were new, and there were. We'll get into it. Excuse me. We'll get into it, but there's processes and different ways to do things now that there weren't before, and it was just kind of new but familiar. It was weird. It was odd to be back after so long.
I bet. Yeah. So how long was it?
Well, I think it's like 5 years. 2019 is the last time we went back. So
November.
Yeah.
November 2019.
Yeah.
November. Okay.
A couple months before lockdown. Disneyland Forward was just a twinkle in, someone's
They weren't even talking
eye.
about it.
Yeah. Tiana wasn't anywhere near a mountain. Like, it was just a lot of stuff, man. A lot of different things, but there's a lot has changed. A lot has changed.
No reservations. No reservations.
No reservations, dude.
Yeah, I just realized that. That's funny.
Yeah. So overall, it was good, and we'll break it down, and we're going to talk a little bit about Alice's stuff too. And if you want kind of more of the personal stories, we just recorded and just posted the secret show for February because we're a little behind because we were in LA. But there we kind of talk a little bit more about what it was like to travel with a 7-year-old to go to Disneyland for the first time. And we'll talk a little bit about it here. But if you want some more of those kind of in-depth personal stories, check out the secret show. That was really fun. It was a good show.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, that was good too, man. It was, it was neat. So I guess we'll just jump into it. And Eric, you're going to be throwing us questions. And if you guys are listening live in the chat, go ahead and throw questions out too. And Eric can ask those, or I can, check them out or whatever. Just to see what you guys want to, either about our trip or maybe a trip that's coming up for you, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but I have a lot of opinions on stuff and I like to talk about them. Yeah. And I like to formulate them on the fly with no sort of basis or ground for doing so, but I just do it anyway. And then I live in it. And so this was a good way to kind of re-examine those. So if I had said anything before and you guys want to know if that's changed, ask away in the chat. It's an AMA, but for idiots like me.
Hooray.
Yeah. So that's basically it. So I think the first thing we should do, Taren, is talk about the hotel.
Yes.
And that's the order I think we should go into.
Let's do it.
Where did you stay?
We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel at the Villas, I guess, at the DVC Tower, which is the newer
new tower.
Yeah. When did that get built, Eric? Because Taren and I were literally boxing about this the other day. Like, how old is that room?
2 years ago?
That's what I thought. See,
No.
and Taren said 3 or 4, and I said it's like 1 or 2. So I was
okay.
Right.
That's not how
I
that
don't know
went,
the
but-
exact date. I've stayed there a few times.
I don't need the exact date. I just 2 years is fine.
Yeah, it was.
It's awesome. I love it too.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was so just to talk about pricing, it was expensive, of course, because it's the Disneyland Hotel. It's on property, but it was a 25% discount, I believe, because of the time that we went. We went pre-spring break on purpose.
Yeah, there are a lot of deals. There were a lot of deals going on right around then. There's still some deals going on at this time, I think. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It felt really new. When you walk in, which I haven't stayed at the Disneyland Hotel in a while, but obviously, when you walk in, they say welcome home.
I didn't like that. I thought it was cringy.
Which is funny.
It is a little weird.
Yeah.
It's funny because my coworker was talking about how she will only stay at on property hotels now because her daughter, who's 9 now or 10, that's the thing she looks forward to the most on her trip is
being told welcome home.
Yeah. When she goes to
Wow.
Disneyland. And it's so special for her that and so I was it kind of put it in a different light for me where it's okay, I can see that. I'm sort of with you on the oh, it's my home kind of thing. It's just sort of
get over it.
I think it's a little weird,
Yeah.
but it didn't bother me. I thought it was kind of nice. I was oh, that's a different way to say hello.
It's a DVC thing.
Yeah.
And that's any of the DVC properties. That's what they do. Even if you're not a DVC member, if you're staying on any of these places, that's just their kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've stayed at Disneyland Hotel before, is that right?
Yeah.
So what is your impression? I know what my impression is of the two different styles of rooms the way they are now, but what's the main difference between these two styles of room?
Oh God.
For me, I think it was just the space of the room. I mean, the last Disneyland hotel we stayed at, it was nice, but there wasn't a whole lot of walking around room.
Yeah.
But I think in this one, there was a lot of room in specifically between like the foot of the bed and then the TV, like there was like room to kind of stretch out a little bit. Like you didn't feel really confined as much as a normal kind of hotel room, would feel.
Well, and design wise, this is going to jump to probably the end real quick, but I already started looking at going again because that's what you do as soon as you come back from a Disneyland trip is you start looking to go again.
No.
And I was looking at the Disneyland hotel rooms and I was like, oh, I don't want to stay in those. I only want to stay in the villas. It feels really new. It doesn't have carpet. It has kind of that vinyl flooring or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so nice. It felt so much cleaner. It also has this very mid-century modern feel in all of the furniture, in all of the decor, in like the lobby, and then in the room itself, it's very mid-century modern, which I just really, for lack of a better term, vibe with. And so I would say that the Disneyland Hotel, like those other towers, are just very classic Disney, very blue and gold and castle-y, but also
a little dark.
Looking at the pictures like side by side, it looks really boring, honestly.
I mean, I like the old headboard where it plays the music and the stars light up, but it
does feel very dated too.
Yeah.
It is dated and it's fake old wood versus the colors in the rooms. Which floor did you stay on? What was the main character on your floor?
Tiana.
I didn't know there were main characters.
Okay.
Tiana was in our room.
Different rooms were different characters. So the room that we got, we were either going to get Sleeping Beauty or Tiana.
Oh, okay.
And we got Tiana.
Yeah, it varies based on your floor and where your rooms are. But yeah, the design is still very much the same from what I've seen the few times I've stayed there, where it's colorful. There's like you're saying there's so much mid-mod that's going on, but it's also focusing on these Disney princesses for most of it. And that's cool. I like the Tiana rooms.
Yeah, I will tell you, so speaking of the headboard, and I mentioned this on the Secret Show, the headboard at the Disneyland Hotel, for those of you who have stayed, it's like the fireworks thing is kind of inset into wood, and it's, it looks like a proper setup. But the headboards at this place, it's like colored, plexiglass or whatever, right? Colored plastic sheeting of, some scene imagined or maybe from the movie, I don't know, with Tiana doing a thing or whatever. And, there's just one backlight color, and then, the colored plastic makes it look different colors. And it's fine. It looked impressive because of its size, but it was just like, this is literally 3 panels of plastic. Like, it's not that great. But you leave the light on anyways, because that's what you're paying for, the thing or whatever, right?
It's colorful. It's fun.
It's colorful. Yeah, yay. And it's actually really bright. It's actually brighter than the main lights in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Because we turned everything off when we're saying goodnight, when we're putting Alice to bed in the little Murphy bed or Trundle bed or whatever it is. And we turn all the room lights off except those. And it's like, it's still really bright in here. What the hell's going on? But as we're all laying in at night, going to bed, you can hear the contraction of the box for the headboard because it had expanded. I'm assuming, or that was like the light system cooling down or something like that. But there were like these loud cracks and pops for an hour or two after we turned the lights off. So we just got used to not turning the thing on, and it never happened again.
Oh,
so it's like the heating and cooling expansion contraction thing was very audible, and it kept pulling me out of that sleep. It's like right on the edge, like 20 minutes. I'm about to go to sleep, and it's pop. Like, what the?
Oh,
it's obnoxious.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I've only stayed there. Like, I haven't stayed there with a kid because I don't have a kid. So I haven't used the
Well,
other
that'd
bed.
be weird if you did
that.
Well, but but this is just the
It was
normal
on the
bed.
main bed.
It was on the main bed, the main headboard bed.
Oh, I always turn that off.
Oh,
'cause
no.
it's too bright.
Turn it
That
on.
was smart.
Leave it on for an hour and then turn it off and let me know if it pops for you. Maybe it was just like a one-off thing, but like we couldn't, we decided not to enjoy that part of the room because I would rather go to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that
Yeah.
will be interesting to try next time because, like I like the colors and everything, but
Yeah.
I can't sleep with that much light on.
No, it's so bright.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I also I don't know if we're ready to move on from the room. Like the room was great. It has a little kitchenette, which was the reason that I wanted that room and not a Disneyland hotel room. That was the actual reason before having been there. Now that I've stayed in there, I only want to stay there.
DVC rooms are, even if you're not a DVC member, staying in a DVC room, you get that kitchenette, you get a little bit more space, you get better coffee, you get it's definitely more comfortable. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, the room was spacious. The windows do not open, despite the fact that they all had latches on them, and it pissed me off. I tried 5 or 6 times just to brute force them open.
It is disappointing that at Disneyland Hotel they don't open, because every other DVC property I've ever stayed at, they've got a balcony, and I love a balcony.
I love
Right.
that's fine. I just want fresh air. COVID stuff aside, because that's why we really want it, right? To air out the room or whatever. But also, I like opening it at night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the fresh air just in general, because also you don't have to keep the AC on. Like the sickest I've ever gotten on vacation, second sickest, was from staying at a hotel in Anaheim with the AC on all the time. And I think it was just a dirty filter or whatever. And I just got the nastiest respiratory virus for days. It was awful. So I'm like, I like having the window open.
Yeah.
And I wish you could have done that there. And they tried to find us a room. We talked about it on the Secret Show, and we couldn't afford the upgrade. Is what it was. Yeah. But the room we had was, I think it's called a premium view.
Preferred. Yeah.
Preferred. Like I will never get that right.
No.
You are better off, I think, getting a standard view or whatever, because our preferred view was mostly of the roof of the second floor, and you can see like half of Trader Sam's patio. That's it.
And the top of the slide. That's why it was a pool view.
It was not. It was one of those like tricksy hotel, vocab tricks. We're like, oh well, it says pool view. Yes, if you lean all the way to the right and put your head against the wall and move your eyes to the left. Yeah, then you could see it. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. But yeah, I did like the mirrors. They were all backlit. The ones in the bathroom had like soft. They had these patterns inset into the, into the mirror itself. And there was really soft lighting, and it looked really nice. It was done really well. The perfect influencer bathroom.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really nice to put makeup on. The shower was awesome. It was amazing.
Oh, they're great showers.
I realized I got out of the shower and I was like, I know what we need to do with our shower at home. Like I figured it out because our shower doesn't go the glass doesn't go to the ceiling. And so it's always a little bit of a cold shower. And the shower at that hotel was so warm and steamy. And I was like, this is what I want every day.
I don't know. I've heard that modern showers, you turn them on, the water doesn't come out. Same with the toilets. You flush a toilet, it doesn't flush. That's what I've heard. You turn the sink on, the water doesn't come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's okay.
Anyway, so for the most part, they had a problem with the curtains on the bed because the end of the curtain closed at the head of the bed, but it doesn't close all the way. And so every morning you had that nice beam of light cutting through and waking you up. It's just, you're blinded by the sun coming through the room. And it's like, bro,
that must have been your specific view. Although I have to say, I was at Riviera a couple weeks ago, and I was stationed right across from the pool.
Yeah.
And I was on the second floor. So they leave so it was across from the splash pad.
Okay.
So they've got the brightest neon lights available.
Oh, geez.
And they leave them on all night. And one night I had the curtains open to crack because I want to see the sun come up.
Yeah.
That's how I want to wake up.
Okay.
And I stood up to go to the bathroom before the sun had fully come up, and there was this massive shadow cast across the room on the front door, and I thought there was a guy in my room.
Oh, no.
It was totally me.
Oh, man. That'll get you.
I freaked the heck out.
Damn, Peter Pan.
Wow.
And
That's
it
cool.
happened every night.
That's funny. I love that.
Eventually, I'm like, it's just me.
But yeah, it was a nice tower. It's all the way at the across at the very edge of the hotel. But you walk out, you walk past Trader Sam's, and there's like a separate security checkpoint, for lack of a better term. That's not the way if you would go normally, like past the Wizard Hat or whatever, right? If that makes any sense.
Right.
To anybody.
They've moved the entrance. Yeah.
Well, there's just a second one now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which is kind of neat. So, which kind of leads us into downtown Disney. That transition that they had, I do kind of like it, but it was a little weird because when you're at the Disneyland Resort or Disneyland Hotel property, it's very tropical and whatever, and then you step out of that gate and cross the little road to go to the security checkpoint to get to downtown Disney, and everything's like decomposed granite and cactus, and it looks nice. It's great. But it's just that like the tropical to desert. It's like, okay, we're not easing into anything. There's no transition. It's just different, which is, fine. But that was neat. And then that was our first kind of foray into downtown Disney.
Yeah.
And, so we hadn't been, of course, since all that stuff has changed. The theater's gone. They've moved Earl of Sandwich. I think they even demoed that whole building and maybe built the new one for Din Tai Fung or whatever it is.
Yep.
But that's where that security entrance is. It's right between Din Tai Fung and then, some other shops. But in the middle there, in between these two buildings, they have this strip. And I think I made fun of this when I first saw the plans and first heard about it. It's
like AstroTurf and the stage.
Yeah, it's a little concrete stage, and we went there. There were two DJs, which I don't know why you need two, but whatever. And yeah, there's like a big pad of AstroTurf with chairs on either side, and there's a couple little molded hills at the back. And Alice saw it. She's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah, go run, dude, play, go away from me, get out of here." And she ran over there, and then she just joined the 3 or 4 kids that were just rolling down the hill.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was, man. It was neat because like, okay, and that's when I started to kind of get it.
Well, and these mounds and this AstroTurf, as ugly as it sounds, it's not bad looking. And the whole thing is surrounded by these little groups of these mid-century modern outdoor furniture, like pods.
Yeah.
And I was like looking at it and I was like, this is fantastic. This is exactly what parents need. They want to sit where they can see their child. They don't have to deal with their child for a few minutes. Their child can run up and down the mountain and they can still see them and they know they're safe. They can have I don't know if you could have a drink there, but you can have food. Like it was great. It was such, I just didn't even, I don't remember even talking about it, honestly. And so when I saw it, I was like, huh. And then it was great.
It's a really cool space. I like it myself. And I mean, I've never considered the kid aspect of your kids can roll around and have fun and maybe meet other kids. And it's just so it's chill. Like, and they always have a band there.
It's sort of like, it kind of reminded me of maybe like a community park that would have, hot August nights or whatever, where people would come together and see a band and just everyone from town kind of hangs out. It was sort of that vibe. So right next to that, there's Din Tai Fung, which obviously we didn't go into. Every time we walked past, there's a line, which I get. But the next building, there was like that Avengers store with this big, life-size Hulk outside, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And then there's this thing called like the Parkside Marketplace.
Oh, I have so much to say about this place.
I bet you do.
Oh my.
I bet you do. And
I don't even need to ask you questions. You're all set.
So you could go and get food, and then they had a little window kind of outdoors of the coffee shop, but you could also order a drink. So you could potentially go get your food and a drink and go sit, and your kids just running around playing. They're not going to go anywhere. It's probably the safest place to be because there's security, wherever. And it was just, it was really nice. So I remember definitely going, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I should be not reforming my opinions, because who would ever do that? But definitely forming new ones, maybe about, okay, not all the changes need to be catering to me. And that's the way I always approach it as a Disneyland fan, where it's like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. We have this whole open space with AstroTurf. What are you joking me? But it's not that way at all. It's definitely kids need a space that's not Disneyland. Mm-hmm. And we learned that the hard way on this trip. Like Alice was really difficult to acclimate to this new environment. I imagine it's just what aliens would feel like if they landed on this planet. It's like, what the hell is going on? So it was kind of not like the time she had the most fun were at these little parks that had nothing in them, like in Toontown, which we'll talk about for a second. There's like not a whole lot. There's stuff to do in Toontown, but you're like beating on shaped hollow plastic drums. She loved that. She loved it. So, the fact that, like Taren's saying, you can have a spot where as a parent, you don't have to feel like you need to guide your child's entertainment. Mm-hmm. And you can sort of like relax a little bit. It was neat. It was good.
It was awesome.
I approve.
And so that the Parkside Market, which is across from the Din Tai Fung. Mm-hmm. That place is awesome. It is like a smaller version of, if the older people can remember, like a mall food court.
Yeah.
There's
old people and mall. I don't know if I like these terms.
I know, but it's true. Malls are a thing of the past. But they have 2 places in there to order from. They have like a fried chicken and then a Korean rice bowl place. And we tried both because Alice wasn't going to get a Korean rice bowl. But we were. And then so she got chicken. And honestly, both were fantastic and reasonably priced. Like they were not terrible.
Yeah.
Then I found out too late. I found out on our last day that there's actually a bar upstairs with alcoholic drinks and things. And so, and like a big balcony that you can look over the green area. So like there's this whole like place that where you don't have to, it's like you go get your food and you go find a place to sit kind of thing. And then Jason found like the best coffee ever at Sip and Savor, which is right outside of this area. I was obsessed with it. I thought it was so good. It was,
we ate there most of the time. And here's a tip. You can order anything from any of the menus. Like you don't have to go inside. You can go to the essentially, extended kiosk that's shaped into the coffee place. It looks like a coffee place. It's Sip and Savor or whatever Taren just said. I didn't pay attention. And you can order the food from there. You don't have to go inside.
It doesn't look like you can, but you can.
You can order alcoholic drinks from there. So at night, we would just go and hit that place up for dinner and then take it back to the hotel. Like in the morning, the thing that I discovered, my new favorite little sweet drink, is a dirty chai latte. Phenomenal.
I think you got it like 3 times. I think there's
like lavender in there too. It was amazing.
I did not like it.
Oh, so good.
You folks are within a few hundred feet of the hotel.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. We haven't even ventured out yet.
You're nowhere near Disneyland.
No.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely not chronological order.
No, this is just.
But still.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about here.
I know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. There is. But yeah, and I just thought it was important that we talk about how Disneyland Forward is going with the Downtown Disney rebuild. I think it's going pretty good. There were
not bad.
There were scrims up at the ESPN zone. We went to the Rainforest Cafe, which is now the Star Wars launch bay, basically. They did a great job with that.
It looks cool.
It looks so great.
If you ever been inside the Rainforest Cafe, they have these like trees in the middle of it, right? And when they took all the animatronics out, they didn't take those out. They left them. So now you're kind of like on indoor or whatever. So then they made it like a Rebel base. And it looks awesome. It was great. It was really neat to see. It was like, okay, you did the best of it. And I loved it. Because that place always sort of looked like an old temple anyway, which is kind of what it was supposed to be. So it all worked pretty good. One thing I didn't like, I finally got to see the Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen redo. Oh, good. I mean, the fact that they put like almost neon bright orange with Swiss coffee color white. It was atrocious. And I thought it was bad in the pictures.
Yeah.
First of all, there's so much space downstairs. Like there's so many more tables. So I from a space premium, I understand, like from a business standpoint, well, let's pull this out and let's put more tables in. Because that place, when it got busy. There were lines. But from what I understood, when we used to talk to our friend who was a chef there, they weren't hiring enough chefs to keep up with demand anyways. So it kind of makes no sense to then put more tables unless they're hiring more chefs. But anyway, that's usually why at Ralph Brennan's your food took forever, because they just were not hiring enough people. They didn't want to fully staff it. Anyway, it just looked bad in person. It looked really bad, and I was very disappointed. That was the worst thing about the Downtown Disney redo.
There wasn't.
Like I've said, it's a drastic shift.
Yes,
food's still good.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure the food's still good. It has to be, right? Because it's still the brand.
But it looks like you're going to get a sandwich and a soup there. Like not like gumbo or like a good Abita beer. Like it doesn't look like what it is. And also, so 0 redeemable qualities to that place. Like I looked,
food aside,
food aside. Yeah. I was trying to find the positive in that revamp, and there isn't. Also, as we walked by, watching people sit there, those chairs look so uncomfortable.
They really did. They're like the plastic woven.
Yeah, just like I would not want to go there.
No, but anymore. I think before they were wrought iron.
Yeah, those weren't comfortable
wrought iron
either.
chairs before. They weren't that comfortable.
No.
I still love that place.
Well, that's good.
I still have to go every time.
Oh my God.
Somebody needs to.
That's right.
Let me try and
I will say, because it wasn't that busy whenever we walked by. It wasn't as busy as it used to be. And I don't know if it's because maybe crowds are low or now there's way more options that are trendier. But yeah, it just didn't seem as popping.
Both are happening right now.
Yeah. I will say I did find a place that was amazing for food. It's called Tiendita. And it's a little.
She looks so proud of herself.
It was
because she got that name
so
right.
good.
She got a little smile on her face. Tiendita, I did it.
It's where is it? I don't even know. It's like in the curve, like when you're going through downtown Disney, and there's that weird restaurant that's in the middle.
Yeah, it used to be Uva Bar.
Yeah.
Now it's something different.
Centricos.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, speaking of that, that looks great too. I thought they pulled Uva Bar out entirely. I didn't know that they just redid it.
Yeah, it looks good.
And it looks good. It's a little darker.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, it's like right across from there, kind of like by the sweet shop or whatever.
Yeah, like on the curve. And you don't talk to people, which I thought I wouldn't like, but it's kind of awesome. There's like 3 kiosks where you order your food, and then they put on this board up high your name. Like, and it's like your food's being prepared, and it's like very Japanese, like even though it's not Japanese food. And then like the other sign is like your food is ready, and your name pops there when it's ready.
But you have to know Japanese. It's all in Japanese.
No, and it was really cool.
Your tacos are in Japanese.
So I got this because Jason and Alice had already eaten breakfast, I think. I was the only one hungry, and I was like, okay, let's just try this place. I'm going to get the steak quesadilla. Like, why not?
Dude.
I opened this thing, and I was like, oh, I made the best decision ever. Like, it was so good. I took a picture of it.
First of all,
I put it on Instagram. Like, that's how good it was.
It's not a quesadilla. It was an unwrapped burrito. Yeah. It was a burrito that they folded over like a quesadilla and was like, well, this is good enough.
And didn't wrap it.
They didn't seal the ends because there's so much filling.
Yeah.
That was beef or steak or whatever she got. It was wild, and it was good. And it was that when you go to, and you live in Colorado, so you don't know real Mexican food like we do here in the San Francisco and Bay Area. However, I will say,
hey, I've got Casa Bonita. We've talked about
It's true. Whenever you go to a Mexican restaurant and they clearly put the tortilla like on the griddle where they just cooked all the meat. So the outside of the tortilla kind of has the grease on it. And the flavors, when that hits, it's just perfect. And that's what this was amazing food.
Yeah.
It was very, very good from a place you don't really, when you go to a place like a resort or a destination like this, you don't expect quality. I don't want to call it ethnic food because at some point, like Mexican food and California are sort of just the same thing.
Yeah,
but you don't expect that kind of thing. And the cool thing about Mexican food in general, it's street food. It's, quote, poor food, right? So it's like fast ingredients, easy ingredients, not a whole lot, but just done really well. That's what this was. It was friggin' awesome. It was great.
I got to try it next time.
So much flavor. It was awesome.
It was not expensive. It was, I think, after tax, it was $12.
Yeah,
and
dude,
it was a big thing.
It was massive.
It was huge. It was delicious. And I got the steak, which I think was even more expensive. Highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely next time I will try that.
Yeah. And that's about it, really. Oh, I did want to mention the Downtown Disney. No, the World of Disney.
Yes.
Shop or whatever.
Yes.
Because last time
the update to the store.
Yeah, because last time we went, they revamped it entirely, and it felt more like a Target or like a Sears.
No, we didn't see it like that. We heard about it.
No, we saw it. 100% remember that. And and then they did more to it, I feel, because now there's a different vibe to it. It feels more focused. It feels more like a Disney place than it did before. Before it was kind of just like bare bones and kind of weird, wonky feeling with a lot more kiosks in the middle. But this definitely felt, it felt more fun.
It just felt like it used to feel. It didn't feel any different than 6 years ago, let's say.
I liked it.
It was perfectly fine.
There were times where it was just empty.
That might be what we're thinking.
I think the time that you're talking about, they had put it. Had they put in the brick walls and stuff like that?
I can't remember. I just remember like the flooring looked different. The kiosks kind of more in the middle. So they were just shoving more. And then the walls are kind of bare and it just didn't really feel awesome.
Yeah, there was a weird transition there for a while where where's the stuff? Where's the merch? I want to look at stuff to buy.
You want buy thing.
Let's talk. Can we talk about merch since we're talking about that store?
Sure.
Go for it.
Their merch this time, I feel like they finally listened. There's a lot of retro-y looking stuff. A lot of Mickey Mouse sweatshirts that just have Mickey Mouse and just say Disneyland. Just less awful stuff. That was a really negative way to say it, but it was great. It was great in the way that I wanted to buy a lot of stuff and I did buy a lot of stuff and that part's not so great, but
you wanted to and you did. That sounds great to me. Free will.
Yes. I think that they really upped their game in the merch. I think even some of the pricing, so one of the things that we did with Alice is we gave her a gift card and she could spend it on whatever she wanted. So she didn't have to ask us. She didn't have to go through the no, don't get that. So she got to do what she wants. And one of the things that she got was a Princess Barbie. And Barbies at Target, let's say a regular Barbie is $20 to $25 for a good one whose arms move and stuff. And the ones that she got were $30. Full princess, actually sewn really well. The arms move. And it came with a separate outfit and a bunch of accessories. And I was like, that is a really, really well-priced piece of merchandise.
Probably because a kid her age sewed it. She was like, I know what people like me would want.
I mean, you're probably actually not wrong, but it was. So some things were priced really well.
Yeah.
I also found this blanket and I pointed to Jason. I was like, how much do you think that is? And he was like, I don't know, $50. And I was like, it's $30. It's sometimes your eyes get a little weird in Disneyland and prices feel different.
Normal. Yeah.
Yeah. But
$30 for a 8x12 blanket.
But it was a nice blanket. And then,
we didn't buy it.
There were other things that were very surprising. So when I got this gift card for Alice, it was at the hotel gift shop. And I was like, we're giving her this surprise sort of gift card, but I want to give her something else with it. So I was like, a slap bracelet. It was right by the checkout, right? A little checkout thing. So I just pick it up and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll get this. It was $10 for a slap bracelet. And I have not stopped thinking about that.
Yeah.
And of all the other things I spent my money on, I spent so much more on other things, but like this $10 will not leave my brain because I'm like, that was not worth $10.
No.
Also,
It's a slap bracelet.
it's a slap bracelet.
Which, do you know what's in the slap bracelets? Have you heard this? Have you seen about this?
Jason didn't believe it at first.
The inside of a slap bracelet, Eric?
You mean the hunk of like steel?
You would
Not
think.
only a hunk of steel, it's a literally from everyone we've opened, tape measure. It's a tape measure.
It's a hunk of steel.
Yeah.
It's a tape measure.
But it's like,
But literally has the numbers.
it's yellow.
Oh, it's got
and it
the
has,
number.
yes, it's a
It's
piece.
surplus tape measure.
Yes. For $10.
That's all it is with just a cover on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Which
like
is-
polyester.
Which is why
cover.
they put it in that's why they build the little switchback
Mm-hmm.
and they
They get
fill
you right
that
there.
with a bunch
Ooh.
of crap. That's what you grab. That's
Yes.
the French fry, right? It's where they make their money.
Yes. So
They
there
had you at the blanket, but then
exactly.
buy the blanket.
We didn't buy the blanket. But there were 3 things that I thought were overpriced. And that was one of them. Another one was
Tickets.
Alice got
Hotel.
yes, everything. Alice got another gift card from a very generous coworker I have, and she was very sweet and said, I want to buy him something with this as well. And I thought that was so nice. And so she got this magnet with a big D on it and Mickey Mouse, and
It's
it says
big.
Disneyland.
It's probably
It's solid. I mean,
5-6 inch magnet. It's big.
It's big. But they go to bring it up and it's $20. And I'm like, for a magnet. And, she doesn't know pricing. So she just goes with it and whatever. But like, so that I was like, that was stupid. That we should,
that's a bit much.
that's
for
a bit
magnet.
much. You should have just got him a
get
pen.
that.
He's an accountant. And then the last thing was, I forget. The ornaments. So we went into the Christmas shop. When we go on a trip now, we want to get a Christmas ornament to kind of commemorate the trip. And so
the one on Main Street.
yeah, so we went in there. Cute little shop. I love it because I love Christmas and Disneyland, so it's perfect. But I felt that those ornaments were all priced so oddly. Like some of the ornaments that looked really nice and lit up were like $30, and that's a lot for an ornament. But then there was another one that was like not lit up and a little bit bigger, but didn't feel as solid. Felt like if it fell, it would break. And it was like $45. And you're like, wait a second, like what is happening here? Like, so
Dude, they had a Mr. Toad ornament. I'm trying to find the picture. It's not going to look very good on the thing, but this Mr. Toad ornament, if you can see in the Zoom meeting, it's a Mickey, it's like the classic kind of ball, and then Mickey on the
And
sides
it's got
or
the
whatever.
weird like crystal inset.
Yeah,
thing.
and it's Toad's happy little face, and then on the back it says Mr. Toad. It's a very nice $35 for that. I'm like, what are you guys doing, dude?
That's too
insane.
much.
Fancy blown glass.
Yeah, it's insane.
but is it really blown glass?
No.
I mean,
That's
a
the
machine had to do that for you.
Right.
Think of the machines, Taren. The
Yeah.
machines need value too.
So anyway, I was really happy with the merchandise. I thought it was really cool. Definitely the Aristocats are making a huge comeback. Not sure why, but it's cute.
Interesting.
Here's my theory. In the next 10 years, we're going to see a live action remake of the Aristocats.
Dude, Alice will love that.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen because I think that's what they're doing. They're just testing the water. So anyway, that's our downtown experience. Let's take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about the parks. We're going to start with DCA first.
We're going to get to actual parks.
We're going to get to actual
At some
parks.
point.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
wow.
just resort,
Okay.
but actual
Good
parks.
idea.
So hang on, everyone. It's Ears Up. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Back to Ears Up, where the opinions never stop. Ever.
Thanks for hanging around, everybody. We're talking a little parks. Finally.
Yes.
For 40 minutes of terror and frustration.
Oh, it was wonderful.
We're talking about parks. So we did have, I guess we can, a little out of order, so forgive me, but no one's going to know. We did
go to a park.
We did go to a park.
Okay.
We did, because we stayed at the hotel, we did have the early entry to both parks. We only did one. Yeah. The first day we went to Disneyland, but I'm going to talk about DCA first. However, I do want to point out that it used to be Magic Hour. Mm-hmm.
It is now a half an hour.
It is now a half an hour.
Yeah.
You used to get into the parks an hour early for staying on resort. Now it's half an hour.
Yeah.
They are just taking if one day it'll be 15 minutes.
Or just not at all.
But
yeah.
You get front of rope drop. That's what it'll be. You get
there's
personally
2 rope
escorted.
drops.
Yeah. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
But, whatever. And even then, when we got into Disneyland, early, it was still a 20-minute wait, even before rope drop for Peter Pan. It's
True.
like, dude, this is insane. Whatever. But I want to talk about DCA first, and then we'll get to Disneyland. So Alice seemed she seemed to react a little bit more walking into DCA than she did into Disneyland. And maybe that's because DCA sort of looks more like a city. Mm. Disneyland is very much a fantasy land of a city. And DCA is to a certain extent, but it still looks a little more kind of grounded in reality. Like before this, we were in Burbank and we drove around LA and stuff like that. So maybe she's used to some of that architecture. I don't know. Whatever. But she just seemed to be like, oh, this is really great. Carthay had scrims up, so we couldn't really see. And that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But, at this point, Alice is sort of having a hard time figuring out what she wants to do. She's a little gun shy because, she just is. That's just her, right? So we're trying to walk around and be like, well, let's hit up Avengers Campus. Well, let's finally get a taste of this area, and we'll see what it's all about.
So this is your first time going to Avengers Campus?
First time.
Yes.
First time.
All right.
My first impression is blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
It 100%. It is so small. I really hope the work that they're going to be doing on that to put a new ride in, and they've talked about upping it a little bit. I hope it'll make better use of that space because it needs love. It needs some kind of attention, or just not to be there. You know what I mean? Either it just wasn't a fully formed idea, or they had budget cuts knowing the parks and they just couldn't do what they wanted to do. But I was surprised at the shape of it. I guess in my mind, or whenever I would see pictures online, it seemed like a more cohesive area. But when you go in it, it's sort of like this U shape, which kind of like an arm branch off
sort of thing.
Yeah,
and
it was odd. Web Slingers was hard to find also.
It looked like a bathroom.
We didn't ride it. I looked around. Yeah, it was kind of
next to the bathroom.
The front of the building is odd. It's kind of like the line is recessed into the building, but I didn't know that where the ride was until we had passed it. And you can see the side of the building that had flags on it that said Web Slingers or something like that. And I was like, oh, that must be the building. I could have literally walked right by it if they didn't have those things on the side of the building.
Which
idea.
Side did you enter from? Did you enter from
Guardian
the Hollywood
side?
land?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a weirder side to enter from.
Okay, well, know me.
Yeah, the building that has the plane on top. I don't know Avengers.
The Quinjet. That's where the e-ticket is going to be set behind. Yeah.
Well, and that's where all of the photos are taken from. And so they're taken from low down. It looks really big. It looks massive. It looks like it's like this big entrance into this land. And like in person, I was like, oh, it's a building. Like it was just like, it felt
sure
like a
is.
nothing.
Well, it's nothing there yet. Yeah. Because it's like a placeholder, I think.
Well, it's,
and that's where
there was
they,
a store.
they used to do shows.
Yeah.
I mean, there used to be more shows going on in Avengers Campus. And I know, I don't know what the current status is on the shows, but I know they've cut way back on, like they stopped doing the Doctor Strange show, but they used to have the Dora Milaje from Black Panther.
She's still there.
Have, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because that's a really great show. And then they would have different battles going on the balcony on that building.
That I didn't see. I saw Iron Man and we saw Spider-Man. But like we went into the Doctor Strange area. Love that area.
It's super
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. It was like the weird fig trees and the figs were all out. It was kind of neat. It was like, okay, this is cool. I can see the concept. I enjoy this. I wish there was something to do. You know what I mean? Like beyond just like you have the door and the sigils and stuff like that. Like if you can give me something else to like take a cool photo doing, I could see this. Or I mean, I know that's where Doctor Strange, you would meet him or whatever, but like, there was nothing there now. So it's almost like a dead park. And you're like, oh, this is dead.
Did they have PhotoPass people there?
No, nothing.
There's nobody.
Oh,
there's
okay.
nothing.
Actually,
they've got like 2 or 3 different PhotoPass opportunities that are, they do weird optical effects.
Yeah, I did see that.
So they do have an optical effect on the floor where it looks like the floor sucking in like a vortex or whatever. And this poor man, like we saw, we're walking around and, him and his wife, they must have been, late 50s, right? God bless them. They were having fun. And, this friggin' Disney adult. And this man, and I could in my mind, I could hear his thinking process. Like, I'm going to get down on the ground and pretend like I'm getting sucked into the vortex. That'll be fun to show the grandkids, But this poor guy took like 5 minutes to do this because he's just, when you get older, my older folks out there kind of know, you're like, gone are the days of misjudging how much effort it takes to move. Now everything's an algebraic equation to figure out, okay, how much can I move now?
Yeah.
How fast can I get down to the ground? And, it was just the least graceful, comfortable looking thing, but he, God bless him, he did it. His New Balance sneakers were in the vortex, and his, wife was taking the picture, and they were having the time of their lives. But this poor guy was rolling around on the ground. It was freezing.
Oh gosh.
God, man.
Yeah,
it was neat. It was cool to see.
There are times where there's a PhotoPass person there who knows how to position you.
Oh, it's just like,
and they've got extra effects they can do.
It was almost like he wasn't even buying into the thing himself, but he was having fun because he was smiling.
Okay.
But he was
that's good.
He was like leaning on his elbow. It was almost like he was sliding into home plate. He was like doing the figure 4 with his legs, and
it was cute.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, and we're like right here. I can't not look at you, but I have to anyway. But yeah, Avengers Campus. It was. I don't know. I'm going back and forth. I'm still trying to figure it out because I feel like I can see the need for it to have some kind of presence in the parks for the Avengers, but I just don't think it works like they wanted to. I don't know. I can't say I was disappointed because I'm not as invested in the Avengers as like Ryan is, let's say, or something like that. Because like the Avengers are fine. But now moving on to like phase 12 or whatever, it's like, I could care less. I don't care. I just don't, it's too much for me.
Well, my question about it is like, aren't the Avengers done?
No, the Avengers are never done. There's new Avengers constantly.
And
you reform a new Avenger.
The park exists outside of the movie universe. It's a different timeline because Iron Man is still alive, and you can see both a white and a black Captain America. Like everything kind of like melds together. And what really worked well for them, and we've talked about this on the show before, when like the new season of Loki came out, they had multiple Loki sightings there where he's in his old costume and he's in his like suit from the time variance authority and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's a lot of potential there, but they have to lean into the live entertainers at this point because they only have the one ride.
Yeah, and I
there
think
are two more coming. They're working on it.
And I think that might be part of my problem with it is I really avoid the live entertainers. I avoid them at all costs. I don't like that part.
Well, they avoid you too. I've never wanted to tell you this, but
I'm just not a fan. Like,
in our group chat, we talk about that.
Okay.
You get a little handsy.
Taren, I get it. I don't know what to do with characters.
It stresses me out.
You stand like we asked Alice, I go, you want to meet Iron Man? Do you know about Iron Man? She's like, no, thank you. I'm like, okay.
I love
and then
your
we saw,
movies.
And then we saw Spider-Man, which she knows I like Spider-Man because I played Spider-Man 2, the game. So like she thinks I'm a Spider-Man. She goes, Dad. She'll hold up a doll. It's Spider-Man. I go, whoa, I don't. Like, cool. I like Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. But like we saw Spider-Man walk. So, you want to go meet Spider-Man? She's like, not really. Okay, fair.
I love seeing the way different kids react to characters, though, because I love the kids that are like and run up and hug, and I love the kids that are absolutely terrified.
Well, Alice, I noticed she likes the characters where they're not human. Like she didn't really want to meet Elsa and Anna. She didn't really like.
She met Belle.
She did meet Belle, but I think she was a little hesitant, and she was just right there, and so it was like okay. But like she said no to every face character that had a real face except for Belle.
Yeah.
But every character that was like in a costume, she was like, yes.
All of her characters, she's in.
Yeah, okay. So it was interesting.
So Winnie the Pooh walks by,
she'd be all in. Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Avengers Campus. It was fine. It was probably better, I would guess, within the first year that it opened, probably because, to Eric's point, they had more face characters out there. There was more stuff to do.
Yeah.
With only one ride, which is a good point. And nobody to take photos at photo ops, there's kind of nothing to do. So it kind of doesn't almost exist. And that Web Slingers is so hard to find the entrance to. For me, anyway, I wasn't looking, but, it was it was a little odd, and I expected more, but also,
fine.
I can imagine that just is a budgetary thing. They're working on it. It should be better. I hope it does, because it does deserve some more attention to it.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle of stuff right now.
Yeah, and I'm not a Doctor Strange fan. That's probably my least favorite character because he's confusing and his movie spaces me out. Like it's weird.
Pun.
But I loved walking through there. Like it's just this tiny little area.
Yeah.
But like it's just so pretty. It's done in a very Disney way where it really
cool,
transports you, and when you walk in and like Jason was saying, the trees, like that turned it around for me. That turned around that whole land. I was like, what is this stupid thing? It just felt like you were at like one of those like breweries that's in one of those like warehouse areas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what all of Avengers Land felt like to me until I got to Doctor Strange. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
Fair. Yeah, absolutely fair.
Yeah.
That's kind of, that's all I had to mention for DCA. Cause
I have something.
All right, good.
We, for the very first time in all of the years we've gone, we did the Animation Academy.
Yeah.
And we did the first show of the day, which we were told usually is a Mickey Mouse drawing. And
should I go get him? You want to see him?
Yeah, might as well. You can go listen to the Secret Show to hear more about Alice's trip. But this was our second day, and Alice at this point had not really enjoyed much. And it was disappointing for everyone.
Which day was the rainy day?
The rainy day was the second day.
Oh, okay.
And so this was the first part of our second day after the first day was a little bit rocky. And so we had talked to her about the Animation Academy. It's not a ride. There's nothing scary. She loves drawing. Do you want to learn how to draw this thing? And so she said, okay. And so we did it. And it was really cool. I liked that. Like we only had probably 10 people in the whole class. So it was the first class of the day. It was very small.
And there were two older people who definitely have done this before because, you get these big sheets of paper that they give you, but they had their own notebooks.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, okay, what else are you going to do? You know?
And I thought it was really fun. There was informative. She told stories, the animator. My only critique was that it was very fast. And there's no way around that. You know, they're going through lots of people. But also, it was the first one of the day. There was only 10 people in the class. Like, I feel like
she had a schedule to be on.
I know.
I liked it. I was like, get me out of here. That was great. I had fun.
I thought it was so fast. I didn't have time to finish. I was
Here's Taren's. Now, don't laugh. This is Steamboat Willie or whatever his name is.
Steamboat Mickey. Mine's good.
I did all right.
Yeah, she did great. I'm just kidding. It's amazing. It looks great. It's like pie-eyed Steamboat, whatever. Here's mine.
Also good.
He's got some.
Why does he only have one?
Style. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You did one pie eye?
Well, I don't know, man.
He's winking.
All right, yeah,
he's
there
winking,
you go.
yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Definitely put on the freshman 15 for sure. It's weird, it's wonky. And here's Alice's.
Oh, you can't see the ears, but they are there.
Can't see the ears.
But
not bad.
she did a good job. She tried really hard.
She did.
Is he smoking?
No. So the lady was like, "Oh, you can put something in his mouth, like a churro or whatever." And here's the thing: is because we were talking about, she mentioned Oswald, and then she brought up churros, and I was like, I turned to her, I almost wore my Oswald with the churros coming out of his mouth as a shirt. It would have been perfect because it was right there. She would have seen it, and then everyone would have stand up and clapped. But Taren or Alice put a churro in his mouth. I'm like, oh, that's great, man. That's great. Okay. Yeah, it was really cute. It was nice.
I like that a lot.
And now Dottie's literally sitting on all the papers.
Of course she is.
Okay. DCA, are we done?
Did you eat anything at DCA?
No.
Yes, you ate a shawarma.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. I had the breakfast shawarma, which we didn't go back in time. And it was fine. It was okay. Right. They had like a sriracha maple syrup or whatever. It was like
pretty good.
It was okay. I was starving, so it was fine.
I
prefer Pim's Test Kitchen for breakfast.
We looked in there, but we didn't eat there. I did want to talk about that drink you got, the pickle drink.
My wife just yelled no from the other room.
Disagree.
Oh, Flo's doesn't do breakfast anymore.
Flo's!
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They're doing it now again?
Oh, I didn't know they stopped.
Did they stop?
Oh, that was the best breakfast. I hope they didn't stop.
Flo's was the best.
Yeah.
No, so Jason got a pickle cocktail. And I want to talk about it.
Why?
Because
Go ahead.
Because he got it and I didn't know why. I guess a listener asked him to try it.
Yeah, someone in the Discord, I forget who it was. I apologize. I think it was Olivia. Yeah, I think it was Olivia.
There she is.
Yeah. So Jason got it so that he could try it for her. And
it's disgusting.
He thought it was disgusting. He filmed himself drinking it or whatever. Yeah. And then he was like, here, try it. And thinking I was going to think it was gross. And honestly, it was great. Yeah. My only issue with it is that it is such a sodium bomb that I feel like it'll make you tired. And I don't know. But honestly, I would get it again.
That's disgusting.
There was a little too much salt on the top because a pickle's already really salty. So it maybe didn't need as much of the salt on the top, but honestly, it was pretty good.
Great.
And I was really glad that I liked it and you thought I was lying and
awesome.
I was not.
Yeah, well, that's good for you. All right, let's go to Disneyland. Okay? Let's cross the promenade. Or unless you have another question.
My main question,
yes,
as you enter Disneyland for the first time in 5 years.
Yes.
What are you feeling?
I tried to make notes about this. It was weird, right? Because it was like being in a place that was familiar, but also I had to relearn almost because things had changed so much about, when you could park hop or, I don't know. I don't know. It felt different. I don't know how to answer that. Taren, do you?
I was a human being full of emotions. I was tearing up. I think I didn't let them fall, but maybe I did. I don't know. But there was a lot at stake for me coming on this trip. There was just a lot of emotions already, in getting to this point. And so And I already knew walking in, like I always sort of tear up when I walk in, even if I went 2 weeks ago.
That's
like
true. You do.
So,
I forgot that about you.
Disneyland is a very special place for me. And the fact that it was a surprise trip for Alice and that there was just, there was a lot of emotions. I was very excited. I was so incredibly happy to be in this place and that we finally did it. And I was just full of joy for 5 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Before that 5 minutes is up, Ryan asked an excellent question earlier. Was there anything you didn't realize you missed until you were there?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm trying to think because like I think I missed everything. So
maybe it's not a good question.
Sorry. No, it is. For me specifically, and I think Taren also for a different reason. We're kind of dancing around it. We talked about it on the Secret Show, which you go to patreon.com/EarzUp to sign up and get the secret shows. Alice, we had a hard time because we'd never been with Alice before like this, right? As basically a almost 7-year-old.
An adult.
Yeah, right. She drove us. And it was difficult because she is kind of, she takes a little bit of time to get used to any new environment. And Disneyland is very overwhelming.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what we should do first is we should walk around and get her acclimated. And Taren's like, well, it means so much to me. I think we should just do rides. I'm like, okay, this is your trip with her. Like, I'm here. Let's just do that. Whatever. So we did like the carousel. She got a tummy ache. And then we were like, oh, well, let's do something calm like Alice in Wonderland. We get on Alice in Wonderland. It's twisty. It's loud. Sometimes they turn up the volume a little too much, it feels like. Mm-hmm. She was freaked out. And so that kind of like ruined the trust that she had in us to like pick rides to do. So I had to instantly go, I need to rethink how I'm approaching this trip with Alice. It was no longer about me. It was about Alice and what makes her comfortable. So I kind of didn't really get a chance to process being there for myself, if that makes any sense. I didn't think about, I really wish I could have done this, or man, I really missed this aspect of the thing because I was just working on making Alice comfortable and also trying to find things that she liked. And I don't know, it was kind of, that's a hard question to answer, I guess, for me, because I didn't think of it as a trip for me.
Yeah. And on the opposite side, I really did think of it as a trip for me because like I said, I put a lot of emotion into this trip for various reasons. And one of them was Alice, but I really thought that she was going to love everything because I love everything. Of course she's going to love it. And it's like I forgot who my kid was for a minute. And I forgot that it takes her a long time to open up to things, even fun things. And I was not as quick to turn it around as Jason was. So I was still, I spent a lot of this trip grieving the fact that it wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, or that I had imagined it was going to go. And a lot of that was just sort of like a sort of selfish behavior because I was like the way that he's saying that he didn't, like there's nothing that he missed, right? Or that he misses or that he feels like he didn't do maybe. There are several things that we didn't do a whole lot. And there's a lot of things that I wish that we had done. Looking back now, I can go, that's fine. We'll go back. It'll be fine. We'll eventually do that thing. But there were definitely moments throughout this trip where I was having to sit in my disappointment while also masking it because I didn't want Alice to know that I was so disappointed, but I was so much more disappointed than I was able to show.
Yeah.
And so it was a tough trip in some aspects, but at the end of the day, you're still at Disneyland. We still had fun. We all turned it around. And it was a learning experience. Actually, we were talking about what to talk about on this show. And one of the things that I came out of from this experience at the park and this kind of new experience for us was that when you go on a vacation, you I think especially at Disneyland, because like you're saying, you walk into the park, what did you feel? Because everybody has a feeling when they walk into this park, right? It's magic. You walk in, it's your home. Everything is perfect at Disneyland. Everything is wonderful and everything is different. And especially if you're listening to this podcast, it's the best place on earth and we all want to be there all the time. Well, here's the thing. You go there, but you're still going with your family. That dynamic you had at home the Friday before, it's still there when you're in this magical place. Like just because your venue changed doesn't mean that your personalities have changed. And that was something that I kind of had to put together after the fact and go, oh, that's right. Alice is very sensitive. She doesn't like loud sounds. She takes a long time to get used to a place. And in my head, I was like, well, but it's Disneyland. This is my safe place. Of course it's your safe place, but it's not. And so looking back,
she's only been there like once,
twice, but she doesn't remember it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
This was essentially her first time ever remembering anything, and so it was so much for her, and I really didn't anticipate that. And it was just interesting. Like your family is still your family, whether you're at home or at Disneyland.
Yeah, and I think honestly, not going for so long, it didn't hurt. It didn't. I don't know. It was fine. It took some of the panic out for me. And just kind of jumbling things because Disneyland is sort of like the target here, right? So jumbling things on the timeline a little bit. I didn't once open my phone to look at the wait times because Alice was she was so, I don't want to say needy or sensitive because that's not what I mean, but we were targeting her. It was her birthday. So she wanted to do certain things. We'd walk around and describe things. She'd go yes or no or whatever. So there was no need to go like, hey, this one ride is open. It has a 10-minute wait. Let's walk across and go do that. We weren't on the app. And it was so much more relaxing to not worry about that. And it was so much more relaxing to not worry about, is my phone going to die? These are the things that you always kind of worry about when you're on a trip and you're there for the entire day. But we took breaks. Some days we went back to the hotel twice. I mean, once because she had a tummy ache. But that's the thing where we just were like, whatever you want to do, we're floating around. And that part I really liked. And maybe it was hard for me to envision the thing that I really missed the most because this trip was wildly different on many levels than we've ever done before. It was like a brand new thing, but still in a familiar place. Mm-hmm. And it was just very odd. It was a very weird one-time experience. I'm sure next time I'll figure it out. But it was odd. That's all.
Yeah. And you know what? We did do something new that we had never done, which was the runaway railway ride, whatever that was. Yeah. I will say that this was the third ride that we were doing. So the first two rides were 2 for 0. Right? 0 for 2 for Alice. And so we walk up to this one because we both wanted to do it and because it's new or whatever. And
we're already in Toontown because like I said before, they had the weird play area and that's what got her to be like, okay, I'm in a familiar place. I can run around and kind of be a kid instead of being worried that my parents are going to take me on a freaky ride again.
Yeah. So we go up to
wait. Let's stop playing and go on this freaky ride.
Yeah, basically.
And basically then that's what happened. But so we asked the guy
Josh was his name. I will never forget it.
Poor
that
Josh.
Piece of garbage.
We asked him she hasn't really enjoyed many of the rides yet. Like, is this one, does it spin? Is it fast? Is it loud? And he goes, no, it's actually really slow. It's a slow train ride. It's really calm. And we're like, and she's listening and she's like, oh, okay. Like she didn't really want to say yes, but she said yes. She was being a trooper. So we go on it.
It's not usually at all.
Yeah.
Josh almost got his jaw broken by the biggest, baddest dad in Disneyland history, benching 40 pounds, coming from I literally almost went out and talked to him. But I just like, you know what? I'm not, I don't
My goodness.
care.
Because there's no height requirement on it, right?
No, and it's not fast, but it
isn't.
But it's jerky.
It's jerky. It's loud.
And there's big flashes.
Oh yeah. I was on the ride once behind a family with their girl had to be like 3, and at the point where you go over the waterfall, she lost her mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
She started screaming for the rest of the ride.
Yeah.
And I mean, it not being my child, I thought it was hilarious. But,
well, it is, yes. Until you have to deal with it.
It's because it's an interesting sensation as an adult. Like, oh, haha, this feels fun. We're not actually moving. This is just a screen that changed, and I feel like my stomach drop a little bit.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Well, because it's
then to have this child like totally buy into it, it's so sweet.
Children are like dogs because they don't have the brain power. They literally don't have the brain area that processes these things. That says like, I know this isn't real, but I think it might be, but I know it's not. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a cartoon, but it's such a new experience.
Well, I'll tell you what,
crazy.
One of the things Josh said that really got my burner burning was he was like, oh yeah, well there's a nice movie in front, ahead or whatever, like before it. So, you'll be to tell you what to expect, be fine. Spoilers. The end of this movie, it's like basically the intro to it sets up the ride, right? Friggin' Goofy or like blasts through the screen.
That's right.
So at some point, like we're in the front and she just gets a face full of the smoke and this loud thing. And I'm like, dude, and
like she got blown up and she was like, what did my parents just do?
Bad, yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, that's enough about Alice. Who cares about
I did want to say one thing. I want to say something about Toontown because people talk about, is the magic still there at Disneyland? And they're worried that some of it's gone. And we had a little cute magical moment. And part of this was because of Alice, but so now this is after the 3 rides that have not gone well. And we're in Toontown and we see Donald Duck, which is one of her favorite characters. And so, do you want to meet Donald Duck? Thinking she's going to say no. And she goes, yeah. And so, okay, great. So we're standing kind of in the line to meet Donald Duck. The group in front of us are 2 young girls, and they are taking like 1,000 photos with Donald Duck. Like, it's like you think they're done and then they have another selfie they have to take, and you think they're done and then they have another one, and you're like, okay, well, whatever. So we're just waiting patiently. And then Donald takes Alice's hand. So she's the next one. They're done taking their photos. He takes her hand and starts walking away with her. And I immediately am thinking about the last 3 rides and how miserable she's been. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. And I was wrong. She's very unpredictable. She got the biggest smile on her face. It made her feel so special that Donald was walking with her somewhere. It was like they were going to walk backstage together.
That stuff is so cute when I see a character walking around with a kid in their hand. Yeah. I think it's absolutely adorable.
Especially when the parents know about it. That's the best.
That helps.
Yeah.
But it was really
you're not freaking out going, wait, my child.
Yeah. And it was really like kind of it was one of those moments that I was like, oh, okay, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. This was a great moment. She's happy. She had fun. We got a great picture. So I did want to mention that because I do think that Disney magic is still there. Excuse me. So
great. Can I move on now, Taren?
Okay.
Talking about our weird child. Speaking of weird,
and how you took your child on Space Mountain next.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
it's in the dark. It's loud.
We gave her 2 Dramamine and she was out. And so at that point, we're like, let's go on the ride. And she won't know about it. And she woke up going around one of those curves. And it's a good thing we brought extra pants. You know what I mean? No. So this is going to be like a jumble, but I guess still on the Alice train. Her favorite ride, Autopia.
Of course.
100% Autopia.
Of course.
So
you're covering every question I've written down, by the way.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. That's fine. To the point where we're doing Autopia. So Taren and her share a car first, and then the next day we do Autopia. We come back, and then her and I share the car. And she's like trying to tell me in line, like it's she loves this ride because it bounces her hands, and I'm like, awesome, baby. I have no idea what you're talking about. And honestly, I think that's 24.5% of my parental experience is just going, that sounds great. I have no context to whatever you're trying to tell me, but I love that you're using words to talk. And that's awesome. I'm not saying that last part to her, but that's what it is for you. Because 6, 7, it's the constant commentary of whatever's running through their mind, whatever they want to talk, I'm going to go do that. Good. You don't need to tell me that you're going to go poop. I really don't. I love that you're going to go do it. shut up. Stop telling me. I'm walking now. Good. Keep walking, please. Whatever. So
we're going somewhere. You need to keep doing that.
Yeah, please. So we get in and she's like, so you're driving and then the little center, thing that keeps you in the lane, right? If you hit the car or if you hit that with a car and it goes kind of too fast, it kind of bounces you. It like kind of corrects off the ricochet or whatever. So she's doing that. She goes, see, and like her hands are like flying all over the steering wheel. I'm like, honey, that's cute, but that's not what it's for. It's just to help as a guide, but you're not really supposed to be running into it. She goes, yes, you are. Bam. And I'm thinking of the poor maintenance people who have to just work on these cars. It's constant job security for people like this. And I tried to eventually I think I got through to her. Like, no, you try not to hit it. Oh, bam. Okay.
She wasn't trying to hit it when she was on with me. She just did.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I think it moved her arms and she thought it was funny. But I will say, okay, we already know that no adult likes this ride. Like, it's so annoying.
I like it. I like the ride.
How, my leg, my quad literally was on fire.
Literally was on fire?
I had to okay, it wasn't literally on fire.
Then that's a problem. Then we could probably get free passes if you got caught on fire.
It was cramping.
I do more exercise. No, I mean, look, there's a certain amount of discomfort to it, sure. But I enjoy the ride, and mainly because it's part of the park that you don't really get to see normally.
Yes, I do like that.
There's different stuff. Even the foliage and the landscaping is different. It's just, and it's kind of peaceful. I enjoy Autopia very much. I hope they never get rid of it.
Stinks though. Woof.
So we did that twice. She loved it. She also loved, which I didn't think she would, Buzz Lightyear. We got off that ride and she loved it so much. She was jumping up and down like some kind of maniac. And then she wanted to do it again. So we went on it again. She goes, again. All right, cool.
I do want to say
she sucked at it.
One thing that we solved a problem by the loudness of the rides. We put earplugs in her ears for the rides.
Yeah, those little foam earplugs.
The little foam earplugs. Yeah. And it changed everything. Once she didn't have the intense noise in her ears, it helped her a lot. So just as a little tip for people.
Absolutely.
Big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And she just gets, I don't know, she just gets little sensory, things. And that's fine. I blame our neighbors for lighting off fireworks randomly.
Yeah.
But you know what I don't blame? Summer for being here, basically, almost. And the 21st Amendment Brewery has the perfect lineup to keep you cool and refreshed. They have Hell or High Watermelon, which is the ultimate summer classic. Brewed with real watermelon juice, it's crisp, juicy, and ready for sun-soaked adventures. Or you can get El Sully Lime, their award-winning Mexican-style lager with a bright citrus twist. Taren really loves that beer, actually.
I do.
Smooth, refreshing, and made for warm days and cool nights. And to celebrate 25 years of the 21st Amendment, they bring the 25th anniversary IPA, which I have not had yet. A bold West Coast IPA packed with classic and modern hops, bursting with pine, citrus, and a touch of tropical fruit. So whether you're kicking back on the beach, firing up the grill, or just raising a toast to summer, they've got the perfect brew for the moment. Find 21st Amendment beers at your favorite store, bar, or brewery tap room, because summer deserves great beer. What do you think of that?
I love it.
What I think I want to do is on our next secret show, Eric, I want to try to get Sully on to taste that IPA with us. And then I think we'll have to send you some so you can have some too. If you can't get it out there. Because I know you live in underground in the mountain. You're a prospector, yes. Eric.
Yes, I'm in a bunker in the mountain.
I would love to live in a bunker. Dude. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There's one store that I can ask my local guy if he can.
Ask your local guy if he can get it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I will do that.
Because Sully can't ship.
Do this.
Yeah. Sully can't ship, and then that would be up to me to do it, and I'm just not going to do it because it's expensive and it's a pain in the butt.
Well,
all right. Well, let's
charge me. I don't know.
Well, whatever I'm going to do. Okay, so let's just kind of. I want to do Disneyland. Talking about Disneyland. By basically talking about opinions that I had no business forming, but I did anyway.
Previously.
Okay. So the first one, I want to talk about the Haunted Mansion. Okay. That's the main thing, because that to me has gotten the most attention, the most work done on it since we've been at the park.
Okay.
Okay. So the Haunted Mansion queue specifically.
Queue and barn-wise.
Yes. So the queue, I probably said I hated the idea of it. I'm not really sure. It sounds like something I would say where like, I hate the fact that they have to like pull up all this old brick that's been there since it opened. But overall, the mansion queue is pretty neat. I think they did a good job of whatever they had to do. The fast pass area is kind of gone, but it's like this faux little greenhouse kind of thing, hut or whatever. It looks neat. We didn't get to go in it, but it looks good. The mausoleum or the crypt or whatever that used to be embedded into the wall, into the retaining wall, is now separate. So it looks more like a crypt would. It actually has, 4 walls.
Depth.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So that was cool. Overall, not bad. Not as intrusive as as it could have been.
It's kind of the same.
I think.
They
kind
sort
of
of
the
changed
same.
like the switchbacks.
They took a lot of switchbacks. I would have 100% bought one of those old bricks that they tore out of the queue. If they had auctioned that stuff off or whatever, I would have 100% paid $50 for it.
What bricks did they take out?
Well, because they had to refinagle the whole pavement and the whole line, right?
They did? It was the same shape.
No. Nope.
Oh.
Wrong. I don't know. Maybe it is. Who knows? Okay. So in the mansion, there's the new bride. We talked a little bit about it in the secret show in the attic scene. It was really neat. The attic scene now has like a model of the haunted mansion, like right when you go into it on the right side. It was kind of neat. It's kind of
it's cute.
thing.
I liked it.
Fun. Yeah.
The new bride in there is cool. I like the effect. It's kind of more projection. There's a little more movement to it. I enjoyed it. She looks sort of like a softer painting of Jesus on the cross, like the facially, because she's like looking off to the left and down. She looks very sunken and sad. I was like, oh, my friend's like, yeah, let me know what you think of it. I go, looks like Jesus. And he goes, we get a lot of Mary. I'm like, okay. But either way, it's biblical. It's weird.
Interesting.
So I liked it. I thought it was cool. The graveyard scene. Tell me I'm wrong, but they have changed this scene up a lot. And I haven't seen anybody really talk about it. The singing busts used to be kind of the focus of that ride, or that scene where you have like a stretch where you would see the singing busts in front of you, to the point where the singing bust would, they wouldn't all be moving at the same time. One would be singing a solo or, whatever. And then one would just kind of be pulling faces and, you kind of get more of a thing. It feels like now the singing busts are maybe 3 seconds of the ride. It seemed very, and they're off to the side now. They're not even like facing you. They moved it all around. It was weird. And the whole scene kind of seemed shorter as well. I don't know if that's true or not, but things are definitely not where they used to be, which I don't mind. I'm not saying that's wrong, because I do kind of like the fact that you can switch things up and maybe you get to see something different that you've never seen before because it's in a different place. So that's fine. But I like the singing busts. I didn't get to see him as much.
I'll have to ask Brandy about that, because she was just there last week, and like right after you left, she was there, and I haven't asked about that yet. So.
Well, that's why she made it, because it was safe for us to go, or safe for her to go,
right?
Because we left.
I actually really liked.
She knew that we would want to hang out, and she's like, "I'm not doing that, dude."
Yeah, that's why she stayed at Pixar Place instead of
just in case there was overlap.
Just in case.
I really liked the graveyard scene. I thought it was really well lit. It was bright. It was like there was a true party happening there, and it felt a little bit more coherent. In the past, it's like, oh, there's one person having a tea party and one person's drinking a martini, and then there's these busts that are singing, and they were all cool, but they were all kind of like separate ideas. And now it felt like it was just a backyard, like a party, like a big party with a bunch of ghosts. And I thought it was kind of cool.
Were the scrims pretty clean? Because
so clean.
Yeah.
That's what happened right after COVID, when they had so much time to clean everything.
COVID's still around, Eric.
So clear. Well, right after the COVID closures.
Okay.
Here,
I'm always going to, every show I do, I'm always going to do it.
I'm trying to.
Always. I do it to everybody. Yes. It's not just you.
Right after it reopened.
There you go.
the scrims there were so clean that you
Yes.
could see everything very clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like HD. They really kind of stepped it up. And I think the lighting was a little different too. The color seemed a little more vibrant, but not in just a clean versus dirty scrim way. Just a different color tone, which I kind of enjoyed. And you know what? I was right when Taren was talking, which I typically do, kind of zone out. I was thinking about Ryan's question about, what we realized maybe we missed or whatever. And I thought, okay, Haunted Mansion for sure. But and Alice was with us and she actually really loved the Haunted Mansion. That was our last ride. That was one thing that we really kind of always try to do anyway as a tradition is have that be the last ride before we go out. We got to do that and it was nice. But, I guess it solidified like how much focus I was putting on Alice having a good time that, we didn't like, for example, she was really scared walking down the hallway after you go down the elevator. So it was more of like comforting her rather than be like, oh, I'm finally back here. Not that it took away from the specialness of it, because I would rather 100% be focused on my child than the thing I've seen 100 times. But that's probably the closest I got to like, oh yes, finally we're here again. You know what I mean? That's probably the closest answer I can get is walking down that hallway in Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
And she liked it. It was it wasn't necessarily her idea to go on it.
No,
but
we basically bullied her.
We bullied her, but she was into it and she really liked it. When we were going up the escalator thing on the afterwards, she goes, again. And then she denied saying that later, but I heard it.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
I absolutely heard it.
Yeah.
No, I remember that. Like that was my experience as a kid. My dad's like, "We're doing this." I'm like, "This is too scary." And then by the end, I'm like, "Yay! I love it."
Yeah, I was like, look, this is our favorite ride. We've done everything. We haven't asked to do a single thing. So maybe I guilt tripped her a little bit, but I don't care. I said, like, we're going to do this ride. We would really appreciate it if you wanted to do it with us, but we really want to do this ride.
Here's $5. Get a churro and stand over there.
If you could be, a brave girl, put your big brave girl pants on and do this. It's not going to be as bad as you think. I promise you're going to have a good time, but we really want to do this. She's like, okay. And she loved it. She absolutely loved it. So that's good. Which leads us to the carriage shack, the shed. Mm-hmm. This has been a focus for a bit, especially online. And we've talked about it a little bit too. And, Ryan went there and he said it wasn't that bad. And I disagree. So if you're coming up from Pirates, right? If you start at Pirates and you kind of come up, the carriage house or whatever isn't terrible. It's not that bad because you see the house first. It's kind of covered by the tree. You don't really see too much. It's angled such that it's like almost hard to see.
Yeah, it's not a big
unless
deal.
you're looking for it, I guess. But if you're heading down from Tiana's, it's a little more obstructive. And we really only did it at night. Mm-hmm. And at night, it is lit so thoroughly. It's like a searchlight on a foggy night. Because they have like 5 or 6 pendant lights just hanging from the roof at all times, like around the thing. And it was so bright, it pulled focus for me from the surrounding area because everything is so dimly lit. Like if you think about Rivers America at night or New Orleans Square at night, right?
Oh, it's the best.
It's softer. There's not a whole lot of lights. Yes, right? This is not like that. There is so much light around this friggin' shack that you're trying to get the vibe of everything. And that is, and maybe I'm a little harsher on it than I need to be because New Orleans Square is my absolute favorite land in any of the parks. I love it so much. The vibe is great. Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride. And then you have this lantern in the middle of it. And you're like, what is this? So you can't help but like look at it. Yeah. So like, okay, whatever. That's fine. The inside it's a shop. It's fine. I didn't see anything that needed to be there. I didn't see any reason for it still because you can just go to Le Baton Rouge and find all the same stuff, all the same merch.
Randy said the same.
Yeah.
It just
She's
didn't
like,
really,
I wanted more merch. I wanted cooler merch.
Or different stuff.
I wanted more of a reason for it to be there. I still don't understand why they have now 2 shops that have Haunted Mansion specific merch in it in the same area. It doesn't make any sense to me. It bothers me.
Yeah.
Isn't Le Baton Rouge, didn't that change to a Tiana shop?
No, that was
not yet. At least
that was.
Oh, that was the other.
It was the other shop. I think I may be getting it wrong, but Le Baton Rouge, in my mind, is the first shop like next to where you get the gumbo. It's like right there.
Okay,
that might not be it.
Maybe.
I just like saying it.
It's been a bit since I've been at Disneyland.
I probably could have always been getting that wrong. Who knows?
I guess it's been a bit since you were at Disneyland too. So
well, that's true.
Until last week,
I did say the thing is much smaller than the pictures made it look as well. Though I will say I wish they pushed it farther back. I think it's a little too forward. I don't know.
And that's also the lighting too, like you said.
Yeah, the lighting, but it still is a little obtrusive. It sticks out. It kind of changes things for me. The inside is it felt kind of unfocused also. Like we talked about, the merch doesn't seem to necessitate its own area, right? Because it's all, you can just get it anywhere else. It kind of felt like the idea someone had, let's put a store here. And then they backfilled it with ideas, right? Like, they go, here's a store. We'll put merchandise in. Let's put merchandise in. Oh, let's backfill this with some ambiance instead of going, hey, let's do a fully incorporated idea that is a shop. So you have like a shed that has like half a loft, with some scene dressing up in the loft that you can't really see unless you stand in one of the doorways and block the doorways to then look up, and it looked like a bed or something. It's just kind of odd. I didn't really get it. The interior was kind of like shabby farmhouse chic with like exposed beams and some distressed paint on them. I don't know. It didn't really feel haunted mansion-y. It didn't really feel carriage housey either. It felt like converted barn into loft that rent from Airbnb.
That's interesting. Memento Mori. Have you been to Memento Mori in Walt Disney World?
Yeah. That store's cool.
Yeah, like that store is awesome, and that store's been there for decades, and it's got a lot of flair on the outside and on the inside, and it's a perfect choice to make it into a Haunted Mansion store.
Yes,
I agree. Like it sold skulls and stuff before,
which is awesome, dude.
Right?
Yeah. This was just it didn't feel connected at all to the Haunted Mansion, in a weird way. I don't know. It felt more. I would say vibrant. It is a weird word to describe it, but that was it. It just feels a little disconnected. It didn't really fit for me. Overall, bad. I don't think it needs to be there. The lighting was weird. It did pull focus for me. And the inside, there wasn't any. If they had cool stuff inside, I don't know what that would be. That might be different. Yeah. Ryan is saying, I think it's Pieces of 8 that I'm thinking of. Pieces of 8 is that one right when you get off Pirates.
Yeah.
And it's all piratesy. Then you go through that little alcove, and then you're in a different store. What's that store called? You look that up, Ryan. So that's my opinion on the Carriage Shack. That's my opinion, just basically overall on the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. Are you planning on talking about anything in Star Wars Land?
Yes.
Okay, good. Cool. I have a couple.
So went to Star Wars Land. And so, by the way, when we were there at this is Wednesday night, it was raining.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean like it rained for 5 minutes like it usually does in Anaheim, and that's it, but it drives the crowds away. Number one, it was 90s night. So there were still a bunch of people there, but it was like actively raining, like feet wet, just raining. And to the point, and to Alice's credit, we were in downtown Disney walking back. She rallied. She had a tummy ache and it was a whole thing, but she rallied. And on our last night, we walked all the way because we had just walked back, rested for a bit, and she felt better. We walked all the way back. Her feet and Taren's feet were both wet before they even got to the park. Mine were dry for some reason. It was weird, but or maybe I have no feeling in my feet. And so we went 4 hours with wet feet, and she just didn't complain about it once. It was awesome. It was really good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But we did Star Wars Land in the rain. We built a droid, which was cool. It was weird, to Taren's point about like the magic not being gone. There was nobody in the droid building area. So I walk up to the cash register. I'm like, hey, how do you build a droid? The guy's like he asked, like, it was like I asked him, what 2 + 1 is. He's like,
wait, hang on.
Yeah, he's like, do you have a reservation? No. He goes, are you a walk-in? I'm like, yeah, yes, I'm a walk-in. Whatever. So he's like, okay,
my supervisor.
Well, you start here and, you get rung up first and you go bring in the receipt or whatever. And you do the whole thing. There's so much crap there to be upsold. Nobody upsolded me on anything. Nothing at all. Like at the end of the day, we built the robot. Alice built the, she picked out all the things. It was really cool. She had a lot of fun doing it. And, then I was like, hey, what are those like chips, the personality chips? She's like, oh, it's just something you can buy to like change the sound of the robot. I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah. Okay. At that point, I would have bought one of the stupid things. I would have bought anything in that place because we're already doing it. And it's, that's what she wanted as her gift. And so we're like, okay, it's already $107 friggin' dollars. And it came with batteries, which is really nice. I was really impressed with it. I was like, oh, wow, cool. It comes with the batteries. That's great. So like, why not sell me the things? Then come to find out, and I only learned about this like a week later doing research because there's an extra button on the controller that doesn't do anything. And Alice is like, what does this do? I'm like, I don't know. Let me look it up. Apparently you can buy stuff for the legs, like lasers or rockets or whatever, that you can use that button to not automate, but like light up or play different sounds or whatever. No one told me any of that at all. No one tried to sell me on anything like that at all. And I was kind of like, oh, as much of like an anti-consumer am I? Like I would have at least wanted to hear the price and like, you pitch me, bro.
I totally get that feeling.
It's like,
can you, it's the feeling when you're at a restaurant and you're like, you could have offered me one more drink and I would have bought it.
Yeah,
I totally would have.
You could have done it. You could have absolutely done it. So that was weird. But the one thing that did solidify for me was that the Ronto wrap is the best food at the parks. And I want anybody to fight me about that. I'll fight anybody over that.
So I want to tell you about a mistake I made on this trip.
It's going to be Taren. I'm going to fight you, Taren. Let's go.
I did the mobile ordering for the Ronto wraps while they were making the droid. And Jason goes, I want a Ronto wrap. And I was like, oh, of course you do. Of course I do.
Yeah.
And I go on the thing and I get the Ronto wrap. And then I see this thing called the Pijali wrap. And I'm going to read you the description. Mortadello ham, capricola, whipped burrata, pistachio pesto wrapped in pita.
Sounds great.
And I'm going, yeah. Like as much as I love the Ronto wrap and I had been looking forward to it the whole time, I was like, you know what? That sounds fantastic. So I get it. Don't get it. Do not get it because the Ronto wrap is warm. It's a nice warm sandwich because it's a sausage and it's got the turkey and it's a warm pita and all that. I assumed, I understand that like this sounds like a sandwich, right? A deli sandwich. But I still expected the pita to be warm because you don't eat cold pitas because they are gross and dry. And it is a sandwich in a cold pita. They took it out of a refrigerator and handed it to me. Yeah. And it was not good.
Well, and I don't think to their defense, but potentially, because I had it and she's right, it's not good. I think that they just did it wrongly because it was, when you put something in like an industrial refrigerator and it's like cold, it is cold to the core, cold. Mm-hmm. That's how cold it was. I don't think anything needs to be, nothing you eat should be that cold unless it's ice. Like that's it. And it was, so I just think they didn't take it out enough, but that sandwich should have been warm to at least room temperature.
Yes.
They could have thrown it on whatever heater they've got.
Yes. Yeah. It needed some warmth. A room temperature would have been fine, but it's just like, because it was so cold, it lost all
like
flavor.
52 degrees.
Like it was
like
just
cracking a tooth on that pita.
Yeah, it was not good. No. It was not good. So just stick with what you know. Don't try new things.
Or ask him to heat it up. You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But that was good. So let's see a couple things real fast before we just kind of wrap it up here. Runaway Railway, awesome ride. Mm-hmm. Monsters Inc. still rules.
Yeah.
We've got Alice to do that. She kind of liked it, but not really. She was fine with it. I still love that ride. We did the Swiss Family Robinson tree.
Oh yeah, that was great,
brother. That is a hike. If I wasn't as in quote unquote shape as I am now, I wouldn't have been able to make it. There's no way. That is a climb, and there's not a whole lot really to see. And then if you because you think, oh, I'm going to get up on top and I'm going to look out on the views of the park, you can't see anything because of the fake branches are in the way. So
they've got a lot up there. Yeah.
I see the HVAC system for Pirates. That's sweet, and I see a little bit of the water there of Rivers America.
Don't look that way. Look at all the
I didn't
fun
even
stuff.
think to look out on the park.
Oh, you got to, but you can't anyway because it's all the dirty fake leaves. But
I really liked it.
It was neat. It was fine. It is kind of a maze. When we were walking down, people were walking up and they're like, oh, no, we didn't see a sign that says, don't go up this way. Ha, ha, ha. And then I look down and it literally says exit only. And they're like, other people are walking up. Like,
there's a sign.
So I'm like, oh, it happens, brother. So we walk out, we get down the stairs, and then we go the way we think we're supposed to be going. And then we almost went right back up. It's like a one in, one out. It's weird. So I'm like, oh, let's not do that again, please. But that was cool. I like the Swiss Family Tree at night. Looks great. We saw that thing. Looked great. Things that I didn't do, things that we didn't do that I'm okay with not doing. Okay. Rise of the Resistance. We didn't do.
Yeah. That's one of my very big disappointments.
Yeah. Taren really, we tried. We didn't bother figuring it out. The right or switch or whatever, like timing wise or whatever. We just didn't do it. And I don't care. I'm fine with it.
If Alice doesn't like the noise.
No. I mean, she was never going to go on it.
No, we were going to do ride or swap anyway. But the queue, the standby was already half an hour. The ride is 15 minutes. Like what are we going to do?
It's already kind of standing around. Yeah. I get it.
Pirates. We didn't get to go back on Pirates.
That was my other disappointment. Because that's actually my favorite ride. Like yours is Haunted Mansion, but mine is really Pirates.
Wow.
And so I think about that and
took this show to figure that. I guess for me, it's like Pirates hasn't been changed. It's all the same. I just didn't care. Web Slingers. I would have gone on it because we were there, but I didn't want to go on it enough to do like a rider swap thing.
Sensory overload.
I bet.
Definitely not for her.
Yeah. Tiana's.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do that anyway.
I mean, it was a little too cold to do it, but I would have, if the ride time was fine, I would have done it. Because I want to see it because the videos I've seen look really great. Food and wine stuff.
Yeah. Whoops.
It was food and wine time at DCA, and we should have probably tried some of that. But again,
you got shawarma.
But again, it was very much like this is Alice's trip. I don't know. I overthought it a little bit. We're like, I don't want to bore her with it. So maybe we catered a little too much to her, but it was. I feel like I didn't miss anything that I couldn't find anywhere else, which is kind of always how I feel about food and wine, anyway.
One thing that I did miss. When Jason and I went to Disneyland on our honeymoon, one of the things that we did that I just forever will think is such a good idea is we went to the perfume shop and we each picked out a perfume. And now anytime I use that perfume, I think about our honeymoon. Mm-hmm. Like it brings that sensory memory back.
Every time I use mine, I think of Johnny Depp in the desert playing a guitar while a wolf walks around him.
Hey, I mean, to each their own. That sounds pretty cool too.
It's just a commercial for it.
I know.
Okay.
But I told Jason, I was like, I'm going to get the perfume because I'm out of it. And I'm like, I'm going to get it at Disneyland because I'm like so excited about it because that's where I got it before. And, it seems right after 5 years. Like this is my comeback, right? And I go in and they don't sell just perfume, like normal perfumes anymore. I guess it looks like it was purchased by a particular perfume brand. And now they only sell those perfumes.
Yeah, there was like 3 only that were there. It was kind of
weird. They were all the same brand and there was like different flavors for lack of a better smells. And like it was like men's and women's, but they didn't have my perfume. And I was very disappointed about that. That was kind of a bummer. And I was like, because like that's what I was looking for. Like I can understand
really
why they changed
this trip to be about her and every step of the way.
It could not be.
No,
it could not be about me.
From the food to the perfume to the rides, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Taren got X'd out.
I got put in my place.
Yeah, double X to you, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically it. I mean, we can cover the stuff that we did do. which we kind of already did, which is, monsters. We did mermaid. We did redwood trail, which Alice really liked. Yeah. She got lost at one point and started crying, but that's, Alice. We did jungle cruise, which she was fine with. Tiki room, absolutely loved. Mansion, did the treehouse, Autopia twice, Buzz Lightyear twice, carousel, Alice. We went Mickey. We did drawing class, Toontown playgrounds, Runaway Railway. So what else did we do with our time? Well, we walked a lot. Mm-hmm. Every day, we were only there 2 days, but every day, 11:30, 12:30, we went back to the hotel for lunch and just to take a break. And I was happy with that. I was fine with it.
That's why you stay close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that changed for me on this trip. Like Jason and I, we've been going to the parks for so long that we were annual pass holders for so long that it would be like, okay, we're going for the weekend and we're going to stay at the Best Western and, the cheapest hotel because we're not going to be in the hotel. And then as we got older, it was like, okay, well, we'll stay at the Marriott, but it's still the cheapest Marriott that you can find, right? But okay, now we need the nicer bed. Now that we are only going once a year at best, like we're not going to be annual pass holders. We're not going to do the parks in the same way. I 100% see the value of staying on resort, on property. I absolutely loved staying at the Disneyland Hotel. I loved the Palm Breeze bar, even maybe more than Trader Sam's this time. It had such a comfortable vibe. Like I'm seeing our future of Disneyland vacations, and they're going to be at the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, what it means for our family to go to Disneyland. And I feel like just in general, more people would be more happy. It would be happier if they went to Disneyland less.
Yeah.
Less times. Because there is a sense of ownership. There's a sense of familiarity there when you go all the time. And sometimes it takes not going for a while to kind of remind yourself that like, it's just a vacation place. It's not, the only reason it's special is because you make it special. And there's no magic behind it. There's nothing in the air. What it is when you go there, you've already paid for your tickets, right? You're not handing over money at the front, right? So everything you buy there feels like, that there's no rules. It's Disney. You get the dopamine hits of everything. And if you kind of ground yourself by not going all the time, I feel like it reconfigures what Disneyland means, quote unquote, to people. I look at it now as like, it's a nice place to go vacation and you hang out and you just be chill about it. And I think that I would lose that, which I like this aspect now. I would lose that if we went back multiple times in a year. Because if you go multiple times in a year, I feel like you're trying to push for the ultimate experience. You're trying to get all the rides done. You're trying to gamify everything. But if you go for 2 days, once a year or whatever, you can take your time and it's not that big of a deal. And for me, maybe this is my personality, but like I had a better time this time. And I told Alice this too. I was like, the last 4 hours in the park on Wednesday was probably the best time I've had at the park ever. One of them, because we weren't in a rush. We went back. It was in the rain. We were taking our time. We were trying new stuff. We ate ice cream when it was 50 degrees and raining outside. Like, it was just awesome. It was a very fun experience. And the more times you go and you try to fill that void with these kind of similar experiences to kind of chase that dragon, it doesn't, I think you get like a skewed, what?
Oh, no, I'm talking to Kat.
Oh, okay.
She's staring at me.
Well, probably trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, that's my big brained, thing on it. Stop going so much. You'll have a better time when you go. Maybe. Yeah. That's me being a bully. But we did talk to Eric about being DVC members real fast.
Well, what a strange coincidence that I'm wearing my DVC hat right now.
Well, and I think, and Taren reminded me, we did a whole show about this because
you did years ago.
Yeah, and maybe it's time to do it again. But here's the TLDR: for us, it's not worth it.
I get it. It's totally not for everybody.
It's not.
I think we realized that part of the biggest reason that we thought about it, that we wanted to do it, is because one, loved the villas, absolutely loved them, and will want to stay there as often as possible. But Also, it's cool. It's like just one of those cool, like you're a cool person because you're part of the DVC.
Well, I'm glad you get the cool part of my personality.
That's what makes Eric so cool.
And I think I realized like I don't want to pay for it.
Well, yeah. So here it is. Basically, here's the rundown. It's a $24,000 to buy into the villas at Disneyland, and then that's
Wait,
your
my
home.
wife spent what last week?
Did you guys do it?
We did.
Oh man!
Wait, you did what?
We bought in at DVC at Disneyland Hotel. That's why I've got this hat.
I thought you were already at the villa or the Riviera or whatever.
We bought more points.
Oh wow! Look at you.
Damn, brother.
We go there.
You go there enough.
We go to the places. Yeah.
Yeah. So for 100 points, it's $24,000. Then it's like $81 a month for dues or whatever it is.
Also, though, in Anaheim, for every stay, you pay $68 for taxes per night.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know about the taxes, so now I'm gonna. I know we met with the notary this morning to sign off on the documents, but I'm gonna cancel all that now.
For $61.
No.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. And it's so to stay at the rooms like we had, it was like 18 points a night or something like that, or 23, whatever. Yeah. And it in my mind, I'm going like, well, we could just save up the money, especially if we're going to go once a year and a half. To us, it makes more sense to do that, then we're not tied into
for that kind of
yeah.
cadence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree. That like the perks really are if you're going too much.
Yeah.
Like if you've got, I mean, like we were talking about it last night, if you have an annual pass, you have a better discount than you do with DVC.
Yeah.
And yeah, Brandy's got an annual pass at Disneyland. I've got one at Disney World.
Yeah. We were trying to like sit and figure out, how much money you're saving. And, the part of the benefit, I guess, or in the plus column to be a DVC member at the Riviera or the Villas or whatever is, eventually downtown Disney, the hotel will be in the middle of Disneyland Forward. So it'll be like prime real estate. So you could probably, I would be willing to bet that those things will be as valuable as the ones in the Grand Californian were for a long time.
Yeah. And Grand Californian is interesting because I've never been able to stay in those rooms because they're always sold out.
Mm. Yeah.
But the Disneyland villas, they've been available since they opened up, and I love them. I completely agree. Those rooms are amazing.
Yeah, I would want to do the garden view or whatever it is, Taren, right?
Yes. It's like they have a special garden room, and there's not very many of them, but they open up to the pool. So they have a balcony or a patio. Yes. And so they're like maybe $100 more a night, I think, for the exact same layout of a room that we had. And I'm like, yes.
But
yes,
balcony is the way to go.
Yes.
And that's my only main complaint about the Disneyland Hotel is I miss my balconies. I want to be on a balcony, sitting there drinking coffee in the morning.
Exactly.
And having my quiet moment. Or at night, drinking a cup of coffee and playing
having a quiet moment.
Playing on the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like it's that's always I mean, that's one of those things that I love about the DVC rooms is for the most part, until this latest tower, they've got balconies, and that's just nice to, like you were saying, Jason, open up the door, open up the window, have some air flow in.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of just AC.
Yeah. And my only fear about not being a DVC member, besides not being cool anymore, is not being able to rent the rooms that we want to rent, because eventually they're just going to be taken up by DVC people, because you can rent rooms 11 months before you go or something like that. So
yeah,
but is it worth $24,000? No, it's a car.
Yeah,
it's a car.
I think you can still get what you want with the cadence that you're talking about. I think you're fine.
Yeah,
and you can get these rooms. This place hasn't been booking up. Like
it's going to be a while.
Like Grand Californian always has.
And and can I just say that the idea, so I knew there was a lot at stake, like I was saying, going on this trip, because Jason didn't want to go, right? Like you guys know that. He hasn't wanted to go, and it was all me pushing it. Alice didn't even know. So like this was my trip, which is probably part of the ownership that I was trying to grasp.
Yeah, you carried a lot of weight moving into this.
I did.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, I didn't really know how it would go, and I was keeping an open mind and thinking, you know what, he might hate it. She might. I didn't think she would hate it, but I was like, you know what, maybe we won't.
She almost did, though.
She almost did. But I was like, maybe we're not going to be like a Disneyland family anymore. And maybe that's going to be the outcome. But when we came back and he starts talking about DVC, I was like, we're back. We're back.
When you texted me last night, I'm like, he doesn't know that I just bought in. He's not asking because he knows about this. Yeah. He wants a room.
And I was like, we're going back. I was like, oh my God, like it worked. Like I felt accomplished.
I will say, like, you know, because we are who we are, we masked, we brought our HEPA filter into the room, and like, you know, and that's why, mainly the reason why I want a door I just want a thing that opens. If I can get a room that opens with a window that opens, right? I'm fine. We were walking around. I guess we should talk about it real quick. We were walking around the parks and the resorts and stuff. There were a lot of cast members wearing masks. There were a lot of, maybe not a ton, but there were a few guests wearing masks too. So it felt a little bit easier. It was easy enough to take our masks off for like a break. It was. Alice and Taren are more used to wearing masks for longer periods of time than I am, because I'm just at home all the time. So it was a challenge a couple of times for a bit. Like I'm just taking this off for a bit. I need to like go someplace away from people. And so, you know, after having those experiences, I'm like, okay. And I didn't hate going back, but I don't know. I guess just to Ryan's question again, like there was nothing I really cared. Like I could not go back and I would be fine, but I don't know if that's just where I am in my like mental health journey, or like, you know what I mean? It's like, I just don't, I kind of have this neutral thing about just things in general anyways right now that I'm trying to like work on. So it might just be that too. But I don't know. I you know, if we can be relatively, you know, cautious about the quality of our air, which is funny because, you know, the next day you go on Reddit and it's like, I got the Disneyland plague. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? We've had fevers for 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious, dude.
Yeah. My sister came back from Disneyland very sick for like 5 days.
Yeah. And I'm like, so even just beyond COVID, it's like there were people, just the hacking and the coughing and the sneezing the people like in line, they just turn 2 degrees to the left and sneeze and then don't cover their mouth and then turn back to their friends and everyone's laughing. You're like, what the dude, this is disgusting. People are gross. So just that in and of itself, COVID aside, we're going to be, you know, wearing masks when we go back, but it would be nice to be able to have a room to be able to, you know, open a window. And so if we can do that and guarantee that, then maybe that's, you know, then it is, you know, worth it. But it's still hard to justify, especially for the past 3 years. I've been sitting here complaining about the price of beer at Disneyland. And then now we're talking about, well, you know, it's only $24,000, you know?
Oh, and for those questioning it, Jason got drinks. He got $25 drinks, and
I got one $25 drink
and enjoyed it,
by the way. And it was at the park, the poolside thing. But I didn't do what I said I wasn't going to do. And I didn't get a beer in the park because I'm not paying for it.
See, and I was going to, but at that point, like, I didn't even know. I was so outside of my whole body on what we were doing. And I didn't see the cart. If I had seen the Carl Strauss cart, I would have gotten a beer.
It's not there anymore.
But it's not there. And so I was like, I don't even know where to get a beer. I don't know what's happening. But
whatever.
Yeah.
Last thing, real fast. Then we're gonna get a shooting gallery. Frontierland, still the king, baby. Ronto wrap, shooting gallery. That's all I need in a day, and a Haunted Mansion ride. That's it. That's my 3.
That's all you need.
That's a pretty good list.
It's a pretty good list. Eric, what is going on with the other shows before we get out of here? Huh?
Oh my
Do you know yet?
I already told you. I don't.
But then you had some information, so don't give me that.
What
nonsense?
The Bantha boys are going to be doing plenty of shows on Andor once it starts back up.
That's right.
I guarantee it. Andor is the best. I can't wait for season 2.
It was good. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I actually might rewatch season 1 to prepare for it.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Puny Pod, they are talking a little bit about Daredevil in their news shows, but they're also doing a complete review of the Infinity Saga, which is apparently all of the movies. And they're also going to do a little bit of a weird hiatus where they're going to do the Fast and the Furious because of a bet that Ryan won.
Oh.
Against David, where it was a poor bet to place to say that Deadpool Wolverine would not do as well as every other Marvel movie in the year. I'm pretty sure that was the bet, if I recall the point of the bet.
Yeah, that's a dumb bet.
But yeah, David lost, so now Ryan gets to watch Fast and Furious movies on Puny Pod, and I think that's all they're going to do on that show from now on.
Nice.
Scraping the Vault. They're nearing the Tinkerverse.
Okay.
Oh God! I can't.
All of the straight-to-video Tinkerbell movies.
Yikes!
I don't know exactly how they're going to handle that.
Not good.
Instant vibe killer. Yeah.
That sucks.
And on the Supreme Resort, we are about to do our part 2 of our March Madness business, where this year our bracket is hotel pools. Continuing our hotel theme, we set up the bracket on the last show, and on this next one, Teg from DL Weekly, our friend, will be on to judge the show like he normally does each year, and we will figure out which is the best pool at a Disney resort or a Disney Good Neighbor resort.
I love this. It's all the hard-hitting information.
I was just thinking that. It's like it's really the info that everyone needs. But truly, I mean, some of those have some really cool slides, some of them don't.
You know what? At the culmination of this show, what you should do is you should pick all the winners and design the perfect Disney park with it.
And you know what? That's finally useful information for someone listening to our show.
Right.
After all this time.
Yeah.
When's Buena Vista Boys coming back?
I don't know. I'm in talks with Matthew. But we watched our first movie, which is Something Wicked This Way Comes. So I took notes on that.
Love it.
I'm in the works with doing something with Dan for Patreon only, just to warm up a little bit. But we're talking April sometime for Buena Vista Boys. So nothing new yet, but we're working on it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. We're finally getting out of here. I know I said this a while ago, but
I've got a lunar eclipse to look at in like half an hour here.
Yeah, that'll be fun, huh? I guess.
Everybody loves looking at the moon.
The moon haunts you, Conchu. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into this show. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions on taking a weird, sensory overloaded 7-year-old to Disneyland, please let me know. I'll answer everything I can. Ultimately, she had a great time and she wants to go back. So that's all we can really ask for. You know what I mean? Oftentimes with kids, it's fighting through the emotions that you have to then process and go, you know what? That's actually not as bad as I thought it was. So, let's go back. And we're like, hey, that's cool, man. Whatever. Eat this Benadryl. Go to sleep. Anyway, thank you very much. And a big shout out to Concierge, our friend over at Concierge Jimmy, who helped us out on this trip. And then, of course, Sully from 21st Amendment. I don't know, just because he's Irish and it's almost St. Patrick's Day. So what do you think of that?
Hooray.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening live in the chat and asking your questions. I appreciate you guys very much. And for downloading the show. And again, go to patreon.com/EarzUp and sign up for just $5 a month. You get the secret show, a bunch of other projects that we have on too. Puny Pod does a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. For everything else, there's a website, EarzUp-podcast.com. Until next time, we'll see you in the parks. And that might actually mean something this time.
Yeah.